welcome back to the Pin Podcast. Here at the Pin Podcast, we talk about modern topics with a vintage flair and subjects. I'm your host, PinUp Miami, and if you're not following us already, follow us on Instagram at the Pinned Podcast Official, or send us a text if you have any questions, any topics, or you want to be a guest on the show at 1-833-4A-PinUp. Last week, I know I told you all that we were going to have Miss Mozzie D, but unfortunately, things happen in life, and we have a guest that you guys have seen before on the Pin Podcast, but it's also an honor for me to have her again. We have Tina from Vintage Girl Studios. How are you today?
Hi, PinUp Miami. Thank you. It's an honor to be on your podcast twice. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it was a great episode that we had last time because you revealed new information last time that you were going to start doing a sewing and outfits. How has that been working out?
It's been working out well. My summer collection went really well. It was a great way to get back into the studio and kind of get my feel after, being in lockdown for so long. And, the models were great that worked with me. And my online store is up. And I've had a few clients want custom outfits that they actually can take home with them. And we're doing really well. There's a lot of merchandise on there. I have sweatshirts and tank tops. And this year, if you book 3 sessions in 2021, you get a free Vintage Girl Studios sweatshirt, which is really, really interesting. Yeah. A lot of people are like, oh, I love your sweatshirt. I was like, well, if you book 2 more sessions,
you get one.
You'll get one.
And Rhode Island is a perfect place to go to. I love visiting you in Rhode Island. I think anybody that goes to Rhode Island should book a shoot with you. But right now it's really cold, no?
Oh my God. Yeah, it is cold. It's actually a little bit warmer today. We did have about 10 inches of snow last night. This morning was really hard. Yesterday, I was kind of busy because I was out getting the bread and milk and making sure that the cars were all gassed up and nothing that could fly around outside would fly. But we made it through. Get cozy with tea.
And how do you have to shovel the snow? I've never lived in snow.
Well, this morning was pretty crazy because I had a dentist appointment and it was my 3rd one of rescheduling. And my poor husband, I was like, I need to go to my dentist appointment. And he had to get out there, and it was like a wet snow. So it was super, super heavy. It's 10 pounds lifting and throwing over your shoulder constantly. But I think we passed it. I think there's another storm next week, but the summers are beautiful here because you came in the summer.
Yes. It was, and I got to see a deer in your own backyard.
Yes. Renton was like,
it was,
I think I have the video somewhere.
I was very interested. I've never seen that. I felt like I was in a Disney story, and then here comes Tina bringing the deer.
You should see all the turkeys because sometimes we have so many turkeys. During lockdown, we saw tons of foxes, and my husband will be working in the dining room, and be like, "Oh my God!" and then I have to run out there and look out the window. The dog goes crazy and.
Does your dog ever attack any of the animals?
10 of them through our yard all the time.
Does the dog attack any of them?
He would, but we don't let him out.
I feel like my dog would just bark at them. She barks at anything at the street. So Tina, I want to know more about your sewing. So how has it been going? What was the first piece you did for a customer? Have you had any custom pieces?
Yeah, I did I've been naming the shirts and the shorts and all the items after women that I have like my grandmother. There's the Kathleen top, and then there's the Olga top, and the Diane top. So I'm trying to name them after my mom, my grandmom. Each different style to kind of keep them situated. And I made an Olga top, which is just something light that it goes over that you can tie with a little bikini top, and shorts for our client. And she loved them. I mean, it's not really perfect because I'm still not doing them in mass production, but I'm going in this year's logo girl. I made almost all her outfits, and I was using patterns now.
Oh, can you explain to people that are listening what is your Vintage Girl Studios logo, girl?
Oh, every year I pick a different girl to put on the front of my website. And this year, her name was Coco. I met her at a PinUp contest. She was a winner. And I said, I need to, she got a prize package. And then I invited her back because I knew that she was just going to photograph beautifully. So she's on the front of all my social media for the year. And then the next year I'll have someone else. And, I'm just trying to mix it up. And I've had about 12 different logo girls over the years. So
I love that. I love that you do that because it's like a constant theme for you, and it's nice seeing like a different model every year represent your brand, and then I'm sure she feels super special.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun, and it was great. I made all her outfits, so I got to try out different things, and even if they weren't perfect, I was able to Photoshop a little bit of the hem. But I got to try out a whole bunch of different things that worked out. I'm getting much better at shorts. I still want to work with jersey and do like lighter stuff for like beach type wear. But it's all in time. I'm working on my.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go, silly.
I want to do a guayabera one day.
Hmm?
Do you know what a guayabera is?
No.
It's a Cuban, like, I'm sure you've seen it because you've been to Miami. It's like it looks like it's like a button-down shirt with like stitch lines that are folded very nicely. It's like mostly made out of linen or cotton. It's very lightweight, perfect for like Cuba or Miami. But I would love to make one of those traditional outfits.
Our next shoot.
Ooh.
We should do that for our next shoot.
I just want to see how I could turn it into like my style because it's very collared shirt, button down. I don't know. We'll see. I've just fallen. I guess growing up being Cuban, I've seen them wear it everywhere because it's like very casual, and you could wear it to a fancy night out depending on how you style it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, we got to plan our next shoot when I come down.
Yes, I still have to take my shoot from winning Miss Viva East.
Don't worry. Well, we'll get you. I'll get you. I'll see you.
I'm so excited. I have the dream shoot I've told you about. I want to do one day, and with you only. So it's been a while since we talked about it, but
yes, take it. Sorry, I got.
Oh, special guest. Well, last time I interviewed you, you also had. I think he passed by too.
Yeah, he is. He's driving. I can't believe it.
Oh, he's older.
I know.
Oh.
So I also wanted to tell you with my sewing. As I mentioned last time, when we lost Grandma and Grandpa Caldarone to COVID, and we had to clean out their house, and I actually took a lot of the linens, anything that I found interesting, and I found in her stash, because she had a pretty big vintage stash, some fabric, and I saw it, and I said, I have to make PinUp Miami a skirt with this because I keep on seeing it. And it's so her. And I had so much fun because it was like, I felt like you were with me when I was like sewing it, like it felt so good, but I'm going to show it here. I know the people who are listening can't.
Yeah. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, come to YouTube. Yes. PinUp Miami YouTube so you can see.
So this is the skirt.
Look at that fabric.
Nice
so pretty. Skirt. And I love things that are bordered, like the fabric on the bottom. Ooh. Handmade by Tina.
Yep, and I also made you a matching mask.
Ooh, that's important. the new normal.
The new normal. So that's I'll have more goodies for you to pack up.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. But how do you feel sewing? Does it for me, sewing like makes me feel like an escape, and it feels nice when you're making something with a vision. Like you saw that fabric and you saw a circle skirt for PinUp Miami, or you see this fabric and you're thinking of like a play suit. Like, tell me what goes on in your head when you see these fabrics. And
I see these fabrics. I see a lot of things as color, and then I think of like how they would be photographed. Like more like the just like the complementary colors. Like this is just a piece of an image that will go into my photography. you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I like kind of think. And I'm like, right, I one of the curtains that I got were like this little tiny polka dot curtains, which I made into like one of those Olga tops that tie. And I'm like, these need blue shorts for the spring, you know, like, you know, just trying to like thinking like spring and stuff like that. So I like it because it's like a lot of photography is looking at a computer screen. And, you know, with social media, I'm always on my phone. So it's kind of nice to like go downstairs. And I haven't, in my home, the former owner used to be a seamstress. And she, so her sewing table is still set up. So downstairs is kind of set up like a...
Fun fact, her basement was the first basement I ever saw in my life.
The bomb shelter. But the basement, I have a good sewing table. I have my sewing machine set up there. So it's like, it's just nicely set up sewing room. So I can go down there for like an hour at a time and like do something and then just leave it. It's not like in the middle of my living room, you know, it's just there. And then I can go do something else and then come back to it an hour or the next day. And it's like, everything.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. Although I do share it with my son who plays soccer next to it. I was like, why is this knocked over? I don't know.
Does your daughter sew with you? I know she was sewing with you.
She was a little bit, but not much. She's getting into it. She's been really into her anime art lately. So she's been like, so we have like an art section for her to do her painting. And then my son has like a workout gym section. And then I have my sewing table downstairs.
I love that your family, like, you guys push each other's creativeness because you got a little section for your son, for you, for your daughter, and your husband has a band.
Yeah. His music, he's actually been recording a lot of music, and he's been having me do videos for him. So it's kind of...
I like the Christmas video.
I kind of stay away from like the vintage stuff with his stuff. So I have to like do it a little way more modern because like he wouldn't like get it. Although sometimes some of his songs I've taken like silent movies and like cut them up and put them with his music. It's been fun. So
you're versatile. So how do you feel about the future of your sewing? I know you have your spring collection going on. Is there like a theme for your spring or?
Well, it's a lot of like, it's a lot of pinks and brights. I'm trying to make it very matchy, very much like 50s magazines. I think over the summer, I'm going to work on more jersey because that's what I really want to get into, sewing some more jersey, comfortable stuff. You know, I've sewed a skirt for myself. Like I sew for everything else and what I want to see people wearing in my photographs, but I always forget that I should make something for me.
You haven't made anything for you yet?
Me and Ella matching circle skirts for Christmas, and we wore them. We had Christmas in a garage because our families wanted to be together. So we had a big garage. So we put our tables like 10 feet apart from each other. And me and Ella wore nice big circle skirts, which was fun. And she wore hers like a little bit more punk rock, you know, it was a little shorter, had tights and boots. And mine was just like more heels and fun, you know.
More flirty.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask, I want to talk to you about your travel. Are you like making plans for like when things get better? Do you plan on traveling?
Yes, and yes. I'm hoping to be in Florida end of December, early January of 2022 or 2021 into 2022. And I can't wait to see you and do some shooting on the beach. I'm also going to do Rockabilly Q because my family lives over on the west coast of Florida, so I need to go visit them. So I plan on being there at least one day of Rockabilly Q.
Yes.
And I want to go to Viva Las Vegas with you.
Yes. I want to go with you too. That would be such a dream. I've never been.
One of the things with the pandemic is I feel like I need to travel a little bit more. My kids are getting older and stuff like that. I mean, we're already talking colleges for my son. So I'm like, wow. It's almost, you know, it happened. Motherhood happens so fast, you know, so I'm trying to think like, I really want to do a little bit more traveling. But
that's interesting. So you feel I don't have any kids or a family, just a dog and a boyfriend. But do you feel like having kids made everything like it does go fast? Like you feel like they're like
It's unbelievably fast. It seems like yesterday, like I hugged my son this morning. I was like, 16 years ago, you were just a baby. You weren't even a baby. You were like, like, and now he's like taller. Can I borrow your laptop? Like.
Aww. One day I'll see how that feels.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I hold my daughter and I try to remember like when she was like a baby, and I'm like, ooh. So, but
now
then
they're all
she's like, get away. What are you doing?
That's what all my friends with kids say. Like, oh, you have to enjoy them when they're little because they still love you, and then they grow up and they all hate you. And they don't want to be next to you anymore. And then they get older, and then they want to be back with you. It's like a cycle of life, I guess.
I mean, I try to make Ella do TikToks with me, and she wants no part of it. I'm like, come on, let's go do a dance.
Well, I love your TikToks, because your TikToks is Vintage Girl Studios, and they show the behind the scenes of shooting, like your whole studio. I love how you have your setup of like your makeup artist section, and then you have a little living room. Then you have your backdrop that you could change to however, and then your kitchen set. You have a whole little. I
just changed some of the permanent backgrounds too. I made a little bit more brighter, a little bit more spring. I wanted to do a little bit more like tiki section, so I got like the big banana plant, palm trees on the white. I'm very excited for this spring.
Ooh. And how is the bookings for the photo shoots? You're doing well?
It is going. I mean, I'm only shooting about 2 sessions a week, once a week, with a total clean between each session. This week's a little bit busy because of Valentine's Day, so I'm trying to get everybody in.
Valentine's.
Yeah, it's Valentine's, so I want to get everybody shot so I have time to edit and people can make orders and such. But yeah, and then I'm going to have a little break for a little while, and then in March, in the first 2 weeks of March, I have a very top secret project I'm going to be hopefully involved in. I'm still working out details, but you'll hear about it. Everybody will hear about it, but it's top secret right now. And then back to
can't wait to hear.
Then back to shooting through the through the spring and fall.
Shooting and sewing.
Shooting and sewing. It's like, it's nice because it's like, I have my list here, and it's like, I have to edit, I have to pin up podcast, I have to go sew, I have to pack up your skirt. It kind of gives me like, oh, I can go sew now. I'm just going to go sew.
Sewing is very relieving. I know a lot of people. I've been trying to, my goal this year is to improve on my YouTube videos. I always get asked to do sewing, hair, makeup. So since I've been focusing on my sewing, I've been trying to, it's so hard to figure out, because sewing takes a long time depending on what piece you're doing. So trying to figure out what to shoot, and then editing, not to miss anything. And then, but you don't want to be recording for like 12 hours straight, not that it's 12 hours, but so I did like how to sew a panty, because it's a small project you could do in an afternoon.
I enjoyed your panty tutorial. I listened to it. I always listen to you when I am sewing. So I think that's why I feel like you're with me, because I always listen to your podcast when I'm like, or cutting or pinning, and I'm like,
that's good, because I was so nervous. I'm like, why am I going to make a video about panties? But I'm like, I feel like it's a necessity, and right now we're talking about necessities in life, so why not sew with your scraps, especially if you're going to be working with knits or stretch fabric and you have extra. Might as well whip up something really quick.
Yeah, and I like them that they're like the high-waisted granny panty kind of things.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I could make these and I could give them to my client. Like they're easy, quick sew. And we could do like photos with them like that.
Well, I'm thinking like when I haven't really gotten down how to put ruffles on it, but it'd be cool to make little ruffles. So there'll be like cute ruffled undies, and I think it'll be fun, and the possibilities are endless. And if you have a Cricut machine, you could sew like little fun sayings on them, or I don't know.
Well, I can't wait for you to come to Rhode Island and see my sewing, like my.
I thought you were gonna say we'll go to Rhode Island to see your panties.
See my. I really loved your 20s silk like jacket that you wore to that event.
Oh yeah, see that was the first official sewing video I did. Was there's this event in Vizcaya that they do every year at the 1920s party in the gardens at the Vizcaya. And I got tired of seeing a lot of flappers, with the fringe. And I'm like, I know that this cost me. I want something different. So I kept like researching like the old fashion, like 1920s fashion for plus size. And a lot of it I didn't find flattering, but it was authentic. So I was like, I found a modern gown that had a drop waist to use it as a base. And then I searched, which I learned it was called a cocoon coat. And I was able to find this pattern, and I'm pointing over here if you're watching because it's in my mannequin. I really like it. And and I wanted it pink because all my stuff is usually pink. So I was like, oh, there we go. And I added some fur, and I really liked how it flowed. It was really nice. You need one of those for your big mansion parties up there.
I do.
Like, and I missed you for Art Deco weekend this year. I mean, they canceled it.
I didn't watch the virtual just because sometimes it's been really hard to like get so much entertainment on the screen. So I missed it, but I'm definitely coming back. Like, I'm definitely going to come back. I definitely want to go to that event. I want to go to your prom.
Yes.
I want to go to Rockabilly Q. I just wish if they all happened within 3 weeks, my life would be like,
I know the prom will be next year, hopefully for Valentine's. It's supposed to be next weekend, but of course not right now, which is a shame because I know the museum is also looking forward to it. But safety first for everything.
Yeah.
And that way I hope people hear about it more and they come. And so that'll be in February of next year. And then we have Rockabilly Q, which is also in February, no?
Yep. They're doing it like the 19th or 20th or 21st, that weekend. So I'm pretty excited. I'm actually like checking my flights all the time, trying to get that one now. From what happened last time, I was so mad.
The prices just jumped.
So what happened
has been so
last year? Look at it. I was going to come see you, and I was like, oh, I'm going to come to this thing, and flights were like $89 to get down. I had to make sure like the kids were all set. I had to make sure my parents were available. And I went to go buy my ticket like the week before, and it jumped to like a ridiculous amount of money within like from $99 to a ridiculous amount. And I was like, I can't go. I was so sad.
I always recommend to go flying or to go flying on is to download the app Hopper. And that tells you if the prices are going to go up or it's going to go down, to wait, to buy now. I love that app. That's what I use. Like if you already know a date, like for example, Viva East or Viva Las Vegas, I always plug in the dates because you could put it to be saved and it'll notify you like, hey, prices are going up, or, oh, prices will be going down. Don't buy now. And I really like that app. So if anybody's listening, Hopper is my suggestion. You could put any dream place you want to go to on what date. Like I know before COVID, I put for Nashville Boogie just to see flights and to keep an eye on it. And it will keep you notified when things go up or down, when to buy, when not to buy.
I want to go to Nashville Boogie too.
Yes, I want to go. I want to do so much. So I have
there's also an event in Colorado, the 1940s ball. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's on like an airfield in Denver. I want to go to that one. That's on my list of things. I want
to go to your party at the mansion.
Yes, Crane Estate.
Yes, the Crane Estate one.
I can't wait to go. I can't wait for lots of stuff. But we definitely got to do New York. You got to come up for New York. I can go meet you in New York. It's on a list of stuff. We're going to see each other a lot more when this is all over.
Call it the PinUp Miami Vintage Girl Studios Collab 2022. So I asked on my Instagram if anybody had any questions, and I have a few questions for you.
I'm getting all red. I'm getting all flushed.
Don't worry, they're all good questions. Okay, the first one is, what inspired you to start sewing? I know you mentioned it last time, but
I always wanted to have a sewing machine or start sewing, but it was just something that was just like, having kids and not having time with the pandemic, and I was just tired of looking on social media. I was tired of looking at a screen, and I just wanted to start doing something, and I had to make masks. So I was like, oh, let me go get a needle and thread and start making some masks for my family because we can't find the, paper ones or things. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, I remember how to do a stitch, like from when I learned in home ec in 8th grade or, and I was like, oh, I can totally do this. And then after grandma passed away, I was like, oh, is it okay if I have her sewing machine and all her sewing stuff? And it was really nice to have that. And in a way, it was like honoring her because she used to love to sew and try to, teach my daughter who's rather stay in her room. But it's okay. It's okay. Teenagers. But yeah, that kind of inspired me. It was like, oh, it's like picking it up again. And it's really great for the studio because now I'm like, oh, it's like I made these giant pillow hearts for the studio for Valentine's Day. And my next project, I'm doing it especially for one client as I'm making these giant peeps, flat felt peeps. And now that I have the sewing in the area, I'm able to like incorporate that into the studio. So giant fluffy peeps.
That's going to be so cute. Well, I don't know if you've answered this one, but what is the first sewing pattern you've ever done?
The first sewing pattern, I'd say it was the mask because it was very easy and I could pick it up. They were giving them out at the fabric shop. So I was kind of like going around. And then I've been playing with a lot of really old ones from the 50s and 60s and 70s that grandma left in her sewing items. So I made my friend a pair of pants. I made, I just enjoy making things for other people.
What was the first what was the first photo shoot you ever did?
Pinup wise or
I guess first photo ever. I'd like to know.
Okay. I can tell you right now what it was. So 15-year-old me brought a progress note home to my parents that said I was about to fail the photography class.
Oh.
Because I had taken photography and I figured that it was a very easy class to skip and it'd be easy and I wouldn't have to do anything for it. So I kind of spent the first half of the semester in the back of the class chatting with other kids who felt the same way. So I bring this progress note home saying that I'm about to fail this class. And they're like, how can you fail photography? So I got my roll of film and I got my parents' camera. I remember it was like this big clunky thing. It was an automatic camera. And I went out and I just photographed my yard and just like the trees, some bark, just some things around, some textures around the house and developed them. And as I developed this roll of film, I realized, oh, this is pretty fun. Escalated my interest in photography.
Oh.
But it's really funny because my senior project was doing portraits of people through different time eras.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's like photos of like, I was doing like self-portraits of me like in the 60s or in the 50s and, like, and was developing them and stuff like that. So it was kind of funny because, I went away from like high school and I picked up I did photography in my 2 years of college and then I needed a job and I got a job in a 1-hour photo lab. And since I liked photography, that was like, I picked it up again, but I wasn't doing like pinup photography until like 2008 when somebody suggested it to me. So it was kind of weird going back because it's almost like a lot of things in my path have been like signs, but I didn't really recognize that they were signs until later on in life. You gotta always look for the signs.
That's what I always try to look for now. I'm like, what should I be doing?
But it could be like really dumb, like, something dumb, like a project that I did as a senior in high school is now like my career. You know, it's kind of strange because I remember looking for clothes and all that kind of stuff.
It's
I
funny
think
how
I
things
still have
work
some
out.
negatives. I should go get those negatives and like post them, or I'll send them to you.
Send them to me. The next question is, after so many years, what inspires you to still keep doing photography?
Photography is always changing. Like what inspires me is like there's something else that I can do. There's always something else. It's not like, you know, when I started out, we were doing film, so I was constantly like shooting and developing and then organizing. And there's never this industry is very hard because it's constantly changing. There's always so much to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always like to experiment and try new things, and it's ever growing.
New things. Somebody might try something out. And then I also get really inspired by looking at old photography also and reading old photography magazines because they really give me certain lighting diagrams and ideas to like try out. So.
Do you have a pinup that inspires you?
Pinup Miami. Because you are amazing and you like I'm so proud of you because I look at your social media, I'm like, like you always have really great like content.
Oh, thank you. I really try.
So I was like, you know, like with the pandemic, like I've seen a lot of people, like some people, everybody's dealing with it in their own way. And I feel like you have taken this time and have become so like productive with changing things and doing the podcast and the calendar and like the TikToks, and I just really admire it. So I'm gonna say you.
Oh, that means so much. It's funny because in the pandemic I felt so alone because you don't really get to interact with people. So I just create stuff that I just been trying to push my own boundary. And I really like that it always like, it really makes me so happy when it impacts other people without knowing it. And I've only learned that through the podcast, through social media, through the calendar, through everything that I do. Because when you do it, I'm sure you know, when you're working on something, you don't see how it's going to affect. So you feel like, what's going to, you know, you have all these doubts and insecurities. And then it's after you put it out there, it's like, okay. I
just feel like you took lemons and made lemonade, you know, like you made like this whole, like you made this whole, you know, you have your community and you just like pushed forward to try to connect all of us with the different people from all around the country that you've been interviewing. And I just admire that.
Oh, thank you. What is your most, this is going to be the last question.
Okay.
What is your most challenging project in photography and in sewing? So I guess what's the most challenging photography you've had and the most challenging sewing project you've had?
Okay.
Or were they both the same?
I'd say my most challenging thing in photography is I want to do, and there's a lot of like painting photographs, so they look like oil paintings. Like I find I kind of struggle with that. Like there's a lot of visions that I have that I'd like to do. Like I'd love to do like Renaissance type portraits with like big Tudor type gowns and like make them look like paintings and Rembrandt lighting. So that's something that like really challenges me because I'm not really good at the digital painting of it. But I'm gonna overcome it, and I will get better at it. And then for sewing, gathering is really hard. I find that really hard to do. Like I've been trying, and I try to do it with like a pin first and pull it, and it doesn't look even, and then the top.
That's why I bought a gather foot.
A gather foot.
There's a foot. It's gonna be. I bought it. It's not. You can't get it to like. I haven't figured out how to put it so you can get what you want. I think it just takes practice. But it's a foot, and I actually used it for my Hispanic heritage dress. I used it for my Toy Story dress that I did. For a lot of dresses I have gathering, I use this foot that I got at Joann's, and you could also get it on Amazon. It looks like super big. I'll show it to you after the podcast. And you connect it on the foot. So it's like a sewing foot, and then it's super loud, but it's like it gathers everything already.
Okay, so I'm not alone in this quest. Like this is because I find that really, because I'm like, I see it on the pattern. I'm like, gathering.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest the foot for little sections, but for like large sections, then yes, I'll show it.
When they do the gathering of the skirt. Also, like sometimes when they have patterns at the bottom, like that are like a thing, you know, like with some of your skirts that have like the patterns that like
something like this.
Yeah, that always like they're all consistent and like they're round and everything. I don't know. I have a lot of stuff to work on. I get some time though.
But it's fun. I'll show you that, and that's a trick that's helped me. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me while you're on this podcast?
No, I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you for having me again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming on. I know it was last minute, but you're always on my mind, and I'm always stalking you, and
and I'm always.
So it's my honor.
I just can't wait until we go out again. Have iced tea, have lemonade, have Dells.
A fluff and udder.
I'll bring fluff and udder.
Oh, guys! When I went to her house, she made me this thing called the fluff and udder. It's like
fluff,
which is the stuff that looks like a marshmallow but in a container, and I think peanut butter. No.
Yep.
Oh, peanut butter. I don't know. Butter. It was really good. You just have to go and.
It's a very New England thing because fluff was made up near Boston, so that's kind of like why we all know about fluff and udders.
I just love that name, and she made it so good.
There's even like a fluff festival in Somerville, Mass. Like they have like they have a parade, and they have like people dressed up like fluff, like the containers, and I know this burlesque troupe that used to participate in it all the time. They have a whole festival in Somerville, Mass. I think it's called the Fluff something. My son took my computer away.
When you find out, I guess that's the first show I'm going to.
We'll go to the Fluff Parade, and then
Fluff Parade, and you can make like a white gown.
Oh, or
with a sash that says Miss Fluff and Udder.
No, I think they do. I think they really do. I'm going to send you a link later. I really am going to send you a link.
This has made my day.
Like it's a whole thing because it was invented in Somerville, Massachusetts. I just love it. It's like you can't send kids to school with that because of peanut allergies these days. So the kids it's always a quick fix. Oh, you're hungry. Okay, Fluff and Udder.
Well, next week on the podcast, I have Miss Charlie Leanna Murphy from the Murphos Publishing and Car Culture Deluxe magazine. I'll be interviewing her, so make sure to come back and check it out. I want to say thank you if you guys are returning. I appreciate it so much. And if you're first-time listeners, I hope you guys come back. Make sure to subscribe, leave a rating if you're listening on Spotify or iHeartRadio or an Apple. You know, that simple review or rating really helps me continue to bring out content to you guys and a little smile to my heart. So thank you all for listening. Thank you, Tina, so much for being on the podcast. And I'll hear you all next week.